Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are looking live at the SAP Center in San Jose, California. Indoor Football League action on the air here for the pregame show. The Northern Arizona Wranglers in San Jose, California tonight to battle the Bay Area Panthers. James Poovey coming to you alongside my partner, Mr. Ed Cole. Ed, we got a really good matchup coming your way tonight to cap off Week 8 here in the Indoor Football League season. And the Wranglers have traveled to San Jose, California to once again battle those Bay Area Panthers.
James, this is a huge game. The second of their 3 road games they're in San Jose, California, as you can see at the SAP Center. This is a huge game for the Wranglers, considering Tucson won last night. They beat Duke City, so they're 3-3. The Northern Arizona Wranglers have to keep pace with the Rattlers, who won last night in Frisco. So a victory tonight is huge, and it's an absolute must for the Northern Arizona Wranglers if they want to continue to stay on this playoff pace. A win tonight will put them at 4-2. They'll be 2 games behind the Rattlers and still a little bit ahead of the Tucson Sugar Skulls. But James, and we'll bring in our Director of Communications, Tucker Welch, in a second. But James, we know that the Bay Area Panthers have lost 5 straight games, and this cannot be a trap game for them. They have to go out here and handle business against a hungry and desperate football team in search of a victory.
Yes, the Wranglers want to continue their winning ways this season. The team coming into tonight's contest against the Bay Area Panthers with an overall record of 3-2, looking to go to 4-2 on the season tonight before they head to Las Vegas on the 3rd game of a 3-game road stand. And the Wranglers will be happy to get back home to the Findlay Toyota Center to enjoy that home crowd here in about 2 more weeks, Ed.
Yes, but they first have to take care of business tonight against those Bay Area Panthers, get a victory, get home, and then get ready for Vegas, who came up with a huge victory over the champions today up in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Let's take a look at some results from around the rest of the Indoor Football League from this weekend's action. The Iowa Barnstormers falling to the Sioux Falls Storm 50-47. And the Arizona Rattlers just continue their winning ways, 49-35 at Frisco. That was a battle there on a Saturday afternoon. And the Blizzard of Green Bay fall to the Quad City Steamwheelers, 49-31 was the final there. In other action in the IFL this weekend, the Duke City Gladiators and the Sugar Skulls played a barn burner last night down in Tucson. Ed, I don't know if you got a chance to see that ball game. It was the most frenzied IFL action I've seen in the last 29 seconds of a ball game. It was something to behold. The Sugar Skulls coming out with the victory in that one by the skin of their teeth, 42-41. They get over on the Duke City Gladiators. And earlier today, the Massachusetts Pirates at home fell to the Vegas Nighthawks. The score of that one at halftime, 24-19, as you see on the graphic there. And Vegas ultimately getting the win in that one today, Ed.
Yeah, it ended up 46-44. So that was a huge win for Vegas to go again to the home of the champions and get a victory on the road. And they can get back on the bird knowing that they got that victory over the champions, and they'll get ready for the Northern Arizona Wranglers next Sunday over in Henderson.
Yeah, that's going to be a great battle. We get to take on the Vegas Nighthawks once again next week in Henderson. But before that, like you said, tonight's game is focused right there, as you see, at the SAP Center, San Jose, California, the site of tonight's battle between your Northern Arizona Wranglers and the Bay Area Panthers. You mentioned the struggles for Bay Area, Ed, as of late. This team just trying to find their way, much like we were doing last season. But positive things to build on for them out there, but a lot of work still ahead for the Panthers.
Of course it is. Just like all the other teams in the Indoor Football League, it's always a work in progress, a week-by-week growth from a football team. And as we mentioned, the Panthers have lost five in a row after they won their opening game, but it's been a struggle for them, as you mentioned, just like the Wranglers struggled last year with that 1-11 record. But it's growing pains. It's a part of the process of becoming a complete football team. You're going to have to go through these growing pains. You're going to have these kind of hard knocks, these kind of weeks where you just don't win and you're wondering why you're not winning, but you have to continue to maintain that pace, James, because they're professionals over there in San Jose, just like the Wranglers are.
Exactly right. We will step aside here and take a very short timeout here. You're watching the pregame show for the Northern Arizona Wranglers as we prepare to take on the Bay Area Panthers out in San Jose, California tonight. Once again, we'll check in with the Director of Communications, Mr. Tucker Welch, when we return. You're You're watching Northern Arizona Wranglers football right here as we prepare to kick off tonight's action about 15 minutes away from kick out there at the SAP Center in San Jose, California. Stay with us. We'll be right back here for more pregame action right after this.
You got a voice, Molly. Use it. Do it for the phone.
Let's do it for the phone. They do so much for you. When they're out there all alone, there's something we can do. T-Mobile, look at these maps, they don't lie. And faster speeds nationwide. Let's do it for the phones.
Welcome back to the pregame show here for the Northern Arizona Wranglers, alongside my partners Ed Cole, and joining us now from the SAP Center in San Jose, California, is the Director of Communications for the Northern Arizona Wranglers, Mr. Tucker Welch. Tucker, give us a feel of how things went today. The team traveled out to Bay Area last night. You guys got some rest at the hotels last night, got well fed, and you guys are ready to roll here tonight against the Bay Area Panthers.
Yes, sir. It's been a great trip. We had the pregame meal over at Pico de Beppo, and we traveled down to the arena, got here about 1:45, and the guys have been preparing ever since, man. They are ready to go. They are energized, and they are fired up, ready to get a win here in the SAP Center in San Jose.
So, Tucker, when it comes to what they were able to do offensively last week in Tucson, putting up 62 points, we talked about Quentin Randolph, the Offensive Player of the Week for the Indoor Football League, 7 touchdowns. What are you expecting to see from the offense as far as Caleb Barker and his progression, and, of course, Quentin Randolph and all the weapons that Barker has at his disposal?
I'm expecting to see this team not skip a beat like we saw from last week. I think they're going to come out firing and scoring a lot of points. I talked to Q earlier this week, that is Quentin Randolph, the receiver, and he told me he was shooting for 8 touchdowns today. So I expect Caleb to find him open and find him early, and they're going to be putting up points. That's what I see. They're ready to go. They are fired up.
They had a great week of practice, Tucker, and I believe they're ready to roll as well. They're out in Bay Area to take on those Bay Area Panthers. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know we're waiting for the team to come out of the tunnel there as we speak. So if you can keep that shot on there, we'll see if we can check back with you here in just a little bit. We're going to head up north here in just a few minutes and head up to the Hideout Bar in Prescott Valley and check in with the road game watch party, Ed. That's going to be fun to talk to those folks up there as they get ready to watch their Northern Arizona Wranglers take on the Bay Area Panthers.
Oh, yes, sir. They showed out in full force last Saturday in Tucson. We saw how full the hideout, the place was last week, and there's a lot of love for the Wranglers fans up there in Prescott Valley, and I'm sure the house is going to be packed again tonight for the pregame show and, of course, for the game.
It should be great. We'll step aside here, take a short break on this pregame festival here before the Wranglers take on the Bay Area Panthers, and we'll go up north to Prescott Valley, Arizona, check in with the road game watch party there at the Hideout Bar. Stay with us. We'll be right back here on the Northern Arizona Wranglers pregame show. We'll be right back.
There's a little piece of magic in the heart of the Verde Valley, where adventure is encouraged. Whether you're whining and dining, rocking and rolling, or pushing and pulling, it's your adventure. Play however you choose.
We welcome you back to the pregame show here for the Northern Arizona Wranglers. You're taking a live look there at SAP Center in San Jose, California. The team taking the field, getting ready to battle the Bay Area Panthers out in San Jose, California tonight. We're also pleased now to bring in the road game watch party up there at the Hideout Bar in Prescott Valley, Arizona. We see you folks having a great time enjoying some Northern Arizona Wranglers football, getting ready for that road game at the Bay Area Panthers.
Yeah.
Everybody having a great time out there, Ed. They've crowded in once again, and they are ready for some more Wranglers football.
James, that's what I like to see, the love and the support up there in Prescott Valley for the Wranglers. They're on the road, but there's so much love in the house up there at the bar. I love it. What's up, folks?
Special shout out to Tegan for getting us connected once again here today and letting us peek at the outstanding road game watch party there. We hope you guys have a great time tonight cheering on the Wranglers. Make sure you cheer loudly so they can hear you all the way out there in San Jose, California. We appreciate you guys checking in with us. We'll check back with you one more time here before kickoff, so make sure and stay with us as we continue on here in the pregame segment. Ed, a big battle on tap tonight for these Wranglers. They got to get down to business and play some serious football against the Bay Area Panthers team that you mentioned earlier in the broadcast is hungry for a victory.
Of course, again, they've lost 5 straight games after winning their opening game. So, they are desperate for a victory. That's a hungry team that's wounded, and they're at home. So that is a team that the Wranglers cannot take lightly tonight. They have to go out and take care of business, jump on them early, take the crowd out of the game, and set the tone. You set the tone offensively, defensively, and on special teams, and the rest will take care of itself.
Let's take one more look back at last week's matchup between the Tucson Sugar Skulls and your Northern Arizona Wranglers. A lot of positive things to build on from last week's contest. Plays made all over the football field, but unfortunately the team not able to get the win down there in Tucson. Fell up just a little bit short, but a lot of things to build on from that contest.
Oh, of course, just look at Caleb Barker and the connection. Again, 7 touchdowns. He threw 5 to Quentin Randolph. Caleb was 17 of 23, 226 through the air, 7 touchdowns, also had 53 yards rushing. Randolph, again, had a career day. Indoor Football League Offensive Player of the Week, 7 catches, 115 yards, 5 tutties, 2 rushes for 31 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Of course, we had him on the Wranglers Roundup Coaches Show on Monday, talking about his historic and career-defining performance. Look at that right there, how he was able to break those tackles and continue to keep upright, James. He wanted to get in the end zone as much as possible. And we talked to Tucker Welch, Director of Communications. The young man wants 8 touchdowns tonight.
8 touchdowns, Ed. You know what? I don't doubt the fact that he could do it. This connection between him and his quarterback, Caleb Barker, is really, really strong, especially in the early part of the season. And once again, we've got to give it up to the big fellas up front, providing the protection and allowing for big plays like that down the football field.
Of course, it is all about the offensive line and what they're able to do to keep Caleb Barker upright and, again, keep his jersey clean, keep him healthy as much as possible. It is all about the fellas up front and just what they're able to do. Josh Poe, Michael Bailey, Zach Thomas, Cameron Carter, Jacoby Smith, one of the newest additions. So just looking up and down that offensive line, James, that is one of the strengths of this football team. There's so many different strengths of this football team, but the O-line is one of the major ones.
And let's take a look at the defensive side of the football. Last week's game, obviously the highest scoring game in the IFL in this 2022 season so far. But this defense has been playing really well this season, and I look for them to get back on track and start to really corral the offense, especially against these Panthers here tonight.
Of course, it's still, even though they gave up 72 points last week, I know it was one of those games, James and folks. They're still the number 2 scoring defense in the Indoor Football League behind the Arizona Rattlers. The number 1 defense as far as yards given up per game. They're still only giving up 149 yards on an average per game. So even despite what happened last week, this is still arguably the best defense in the Indoor Football League. And this football team is going to go where the defense goes, obviously, and of course where the offense and special teams go as well. But defense has come up so strong under Rob Keefe, the defensive coordinator and assistant head coach. What he has done with those young men and what the young men have done for themselves, James, it's just remarkable to see how quickly they've turned this around and how stingy they are. They don't want to give up a touch. They don't want to give up anything to anybody, James. And hopefully we'll see it tonight against the Panthers.
And the defense will have to indeed continue to play stingy against these Panthers tonight. You take a look at the schedule coming up down the road for the Northern Arizona Wranglers. Once again, they remain on the road for one more week at the Vegas Nighthawks. That game on Mother's Day, that actually is at 1:05 p.m., a corrected game time there on that one. And then they return home to the Findlay Toyota Center in Prescott Valley on Saturday night, May the 14th, a home game at 6:05 p.m. against the Tucson Sugar Skulls, looking for a little bit of revenge after last week's loss down there in Pima County. And another home game back-to-back there for the Wranglers in May 21st against these Bay Area Panthers, who we'll see tonight.
And you see a pattern right there, James. You look at all the logos. The Sugar Skulls 3 times in the course of how many weeks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 times in the course of 6 weeks. That's pretty crazy scheduling as far as taking on Tucson. We'll go back down there again on May 28th. I'm sure James and I will both be down there providing coverage from the Tucson arena, which we were from last week. But this is a pretty crazy. It's a crazy schedule, a tough schedule, but something that the Wranglers have to deal with.
Absolutely right. We appreciate you taking the time out to join us here on the Northern Arizona Wranglers pregame show. Now we encourage you to head back over to the Indoor Football League YouTube channel and catch the game broadcast with our pals Dave Lewis and Darren Arbett, the Hall of Famer, on the call for the Bay Area Panthers. Once again, thanks for joining us this evening. We appreciate your time. We hope you enjoyed tonight's ball game against those Bay Area Panthers out there in San Jose, California. And we look forward to seeing you all at the Findlay Toyota Center on Saturday night, May the 14th. As we host the Tucson Sugar Skulls. Everybody have a great night. Enjoy the game and go Wranglers.
Go Wranglers. We'll see you after the game.
Absolutely. Don't forget, come back after the game. We'll be right back here for tonight's post game.